Hey guys, good morning. It is November the 22nd, 2 days before Thanksgiving, and we're gonna talk about pine trees today, pine thickets, pine forest, stuff like that. Here in the South, it is almost necessary to know what to do when you hunt pines because that's about all we do have down here in certain parts, unless you get into some of our hill country, mountain country, stuff like that. You can get into oaks, and even some of those mountains and hills is full of pines. So pines can be very frustrating if you don't know what to look for. Uh, Down south here, we have a lot of yellow pine, um, white pine, and certain types of pines at certain types of levels and stuff can be a draw to deer, and it also can be hard on a deer to survive. You know, in just 1,000 acres of pine. You got to know what to look for, where they're going to be, and stuff like that. I'll do my best to try to explain this morning where you guys can go and in your area and find good places to hunt in the pines. So I understand, there's pine plantations, all over the South, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama. Alabama's loaded with pines, and Georgia's loaded with pines. Mississippi loaded with pines. Florida is loaded with pines. South Carolina, all your southern states is going to be loaded up with pine trees, and it's just part of it. You got pine thickets, open pine, lots of types of pines. You have some pines that was, where they'll go in and they'll clear cut and they'll replant uh, pines. And they do that because, a lot of the lumber that we use to build houses with and stuff comes from pine. So a lot of the furniture, a lot of stuff comes from pine. And not only does they, build furniture from pine and chairs and even we've even got Christmas tree farms down here that grow pines and select cut them for Christmas trees. We, you know, like the carpenters, they have to use pine on a daily basis too. So, but a lot of stuff comes from pine. They make, paper, all sorts of stuff. Anything made from wood, they use pine. They'll take pine shavings for your animals. All sorts of good stuff comes from pines. We got to have them. So, down here in the South, one thing for sure, you're going to have pecan plantations, pine plantations, and cotton plantations. And some of these plantations that you're going to see when you're down here hunting is cotton doesn't really draw a whole lot of animals. Certain times of year you can hunt cotton, like when bulb rottens opens up and there's a seed there and the seeds fall out. Deer will eat those, but it's not a big draw. That's the only draw there is. I'm not so sure about the when a cotton plant first comes up, if the deer get in there and key off the green tops or something like that. They may then, but after that cotton rottens, there's really not anything there beneficial for any type of animal. But I have seen deer eat cotton seed, but it's not a big draw like beans or corn or nothing. So they will bed in it and stuff like that also. And it's a good place for them to, have fawns, get out in bed and raise a fawn in and use a cotton plantation, you know, that may butt up next to a pine forest or an oak grove or pecan groves. But down here in the South, it's a lot of cotton, a lot of pines. There's not a lot of you go out west, north, Midwest up there, you see a lot of cornfields and stuff. We do have corn and beans and stuff too, but it's not to the extent of what you see up north from here. You get down south, you're going to need to know, how to hunt hill country. We do have mountains, uh, big timber, and pines, and what to do when you get around, cotton fields. Some southern states do have tobacco. You got to know what to look for when you get around, some of this stuff. And so today we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to show some pictures and probably do some voiceovers, and then I will probably go on to Spartan Forge or Cal Topo, whichever one shows the pines the best, and I will show you guys some good spots to hunt. So stick with us. Hey guys, so this is a giant pine plantation, and you can see this is young pine that they have replanted. This is pine that they're fixing to harvest, and then over here is pine that has done been harvested, which is a clear cut that's starting to come back. And you see this all throughout the South. Another type of clear cut. This is going to be a clear cut. Very young pines right here that was planted back probably a couple, 5 or 6 years old. These were probably 10 years old, and these could be 20 to 25 years old. But anyway, when you come down here and or you live down here, either one, and you try to figure out where to hunt when you got these sea of pines. I mean, that's what it is. Over here is some logging operations where you can tell this hasn't been long since this was logged. So, but what I like to do when I go into large pines is I find these little openings that I can find, like this right here. This little opening, you can see there's like a opening that was left right here. You're gonna find openings throughout these pines. But when you get in here, in these openings, there's going to be all different types of species of grasses that come back. You will have a lot of ragweed, sawbriars, uh, dewberry. We do have a lot of around the river these uh, persimmon trees and stuff like that. If you get close to water, you can find persimmons. But here and stuff like this right here, it's mainly just going to be a bunch of pokeberry, beautyberry, ragweed. Uh, if you've got allergies, bullweed, any of this right here is going to drive your allergies crazy. They will be honeysuckles and stuff like that get and grow in these areas, but it creates a big draw and almost like a natural food plot for the deer. And these big open pines, when you get in here and get up underneath them, there's not a lot growing, and it's very, very sparse. But I mean, it's actually a beautiful forest when you're walking through. It's going to be pretty clear and easy walking and very quiet, and you can do a lot of sneaking around. So these little small openings, you'll find all the species of plants that I just named out, and there's another opening. These are just little natural openings that, for some reason, when they planted the pines, that sunlight either killed the tree or something else. A blight. We do have a lot of blight here in the South. It's where the trees get poisoned by a blight and they'll die out. And so here's another clear. Get all these pines, and you could come through here, and you may find all sorts of native species of plant growth, and you may find blackberries, all sorts of good stuff in these openings. But as far as where a deer may bed in these pines, he may bed anywhere. Um, Pine is a very good thermal cover. It stays real warm underneath these pines. A lot of times when you can be really cold out here hunting some of these clear cuts and smaller pines, and you walk into these big pines, it's like somebody turned on a heater. They produce a lot of heat. So the deer will bed in these open pines, especially does. The bucks, I find them bedded more on transition lines, like out here on the edge of these big stands of pines, from where it transitions to big pine to small pine, like this. Um, and these little small fingers, like that right there, they like to bed on corners of stuff like this. And a lot of times the big bucks get out in here, and there'll be rubs and scrapes, and there's all sorts of good stuff for them to eat out here. This is going to be kind of like those openings that I was showing you over here. There's going to be grasses and briars. This is going to be really thick, and the deer is going to get in here, and especially bucks, they're going to bed all in this stuff. And looks like they went ahead and planted this in some type of field, probably to draw deer. So I mean, it makes, you can, if not knowing what you're doing, you can come in these pines and just walk in circles and drive yourself crazy. And it's easy to get lost in pines, so make sure you carry some, type of navigation, because once you get in these big stands of pines, everything looks the same, and you can get turned around real quickly. And but this young stand of pines right here is going to be good. It's going to have all sorts of grasses and stuff mixed in here. Again, briars and all that going to be growing in there. Deer, this is a deer paradise. The younger stands of pines. This older pine, there's not going to be anything in here for them to eat. I have seen them eat pine cones, but I mean, it's like a last resort food. But what they'll do, you'll see deer trails, and you'll see rubs, and you'll see travel, and where they travel these pines, and they probably do a lot of it at night. But during the rut, you don't never know where you might see a deer in any type of open timber. And if you can find pines, you know, where they left a few oaks, say probably around this water, because a lot of times it's illegal to log around water. So if you got pine going in the water, there's going to be some oak back in here. You see those yellow leaves right here and yellow leaves right here. So there is some oaks around that water right there. So you could access these pines, and there's going to be a feeding area right in here. With the oaks, they have to leave a certain amount of trees, hardwoods along this along water. It is illegal in some parts of the country to even cut next to water. You have to leave a buffer zone on each side of a creek or something like that. And you can see, you got a nice transition line running through here. And in these strips, sometimes you'll find like a gas line running through the pines, or you may find a power line that's running through the pines, and they have to keep that under control. They don't need limbs and stuff like that falling over the power lines. And these make really good places to hunt. And there's good transition, and so I mean, there's a lot of good stuff going on around pines. I really enjoy hunting pines. You just got to know what to look for. Anytime you see like this road going through these pines, you can find where deer are crossing and stuff on these roads. There's any type of road's going to have a ditch. So even if this isn't muddy or something like that, you can still look and see the trails going across the roads. But this is a typical southern pine plantation. A lot of our WMA land is pine. Right over here looks really good. You see some young clear cuts. These are just going to get better in time. Uh, when these clear cuts get a little bit older, like the third year usually is when, oh man, you start getting maple growing back in here, stuff like that. And it's just going to be it'll look like a food plot almost. But like I said, it's going to be a lot of different types of vegetation. And it's a big draw. The clear cuts are. That right there is probably some type of food plot that they have put in the pines, which that can be effective too if you have permission to do it. Our WMAs do a good job of getting in and doing controlled burns and stuff like that. It's like you got this big green strip running right up through these pines. If this is public land, this is going to be a big draw for the deer. They can pop out anywhere through here, and a lot of times they'll pop out in the corners and then they'll walk the edges and stuff like that. It's you just got to know what to look for. Some of the main things I key in on pines is creeks. If I can find a creek or some type of water running through pines, like right here, you can tell that's water. And there will be oaks around the water, around these little creek fingers, like right here. You're going to find creek crossings, and you can see that's a pretty nice creek. You can see that's a clear cut. But you will find a few oaks up and down these creeks, and you will find creek crossings and good spots to key on. I like to find different sizes of pines. These are more young, and then you got older pines in the area too. But these little creeks that run through here is a really good place, to hunt and pines. So come to the south and you live here and you don't really know where to start, you're a new hunter, these open areas that you see, sometimes they're natural, like I said, created by a blight. A blight is a disease that kills the trees. We also have certain types of insects that get in there and kill trees, like this little natural opening right here. This was probably a place where they had a log yard or something, and it just hasn't, they didn't plant nothing there. So there was probably a lot of leftover stumps and logs and stuff like that, and they just decided not to replant. But that little opening right there, that's going to be a good place to turkey hunt, a good place to deer hunt. If you're a rabbit hunter, I mean, this is a heaven, a small game paradise. Lots of squirrels in these pines. If you like to do small game hunting, some of these open clear cuts is an amazing place to deer hunt, dove hunt, all sorts of good hunting in there. Quail. So just because that's all you have is pine, and you don't think you got nothing to work with, well, you're wrong, because you do. Like you can see the yellow tops on some of these trees. A pine tree doesn't, die. So, like our oaks, when they die, they don't really die, but when they lose their leaves and everything, they're just left kind of nakedly. And pines do not do that. They down here in the south, they normally keep their needles all year long. they do, grow new needles, and those needles fall off, and then it packs the ground underneath and gives you a place to. When you walk through here, you can be really extremely quiet. So if you get to park over here and you get the wind in your face and you're gun hunting or bow hunting, you can still hunt through these pines. And once you find a deer, if there's a little bit of snow or you can actually see where their hoof prints go through the pine needles. And you can just track your way through there if you find some fresh scrapes and rubs and stuff. And it can be a really good attraction. But like I said, your larger pines over here is not going to have as much food to offer the deer as the smaller pines. These little openings, when our management area comes and they do set the pines on fire and they burn through them, it opens up that ground and burns them pine needles, and any seed that hits soil contact after that will grow, and we get briars and all sorts of good regrowth in there. And it's good for the turkey. Turkeys really love it when they get in there and burn the pine. A lot of these, like this right here, I mean, that is just a sea of pines, and you can see where there's probably a power line, a gas line. There's all sorts of lines. A lot of times you'll have some gum trees growing here too, sweet gum, poplar trees. So you're not going to find much food, but in these little openings, like right here, there's going to be food. So just approach those openings from downwind, and you'll figure it out. Like right here, this was just recently cut. That's a timber cut. It's starting to grow back. This is probably going to be a really good clear cut to hunt. This is like hunting a giant food plot. This is like having a cornfield. There's going to be so much to eat when this grows back about the third year after they've cut it. The first year, a little bit, but the first year after this is cut, this is going to be a good place to turkey hunt because turkey will get in here and they're going to be able to dust, and they're going to be able to scratch and get gravel. And turkey like to have gravel in their crawl to help them digest their food. So these clear cuts is going to be awesome for turkeys. And then about the second year, as it starts to grow, gets a little thicker, it's going to create a nesting area for turkey. And then the third year, it's going to be a good bedding for deer and start to draw deer in with the native food sources that come and grow back in here. So don't ever feel like you're lost and you got these pines. You can still have lots of luck. And check your creeks. You can see we got lots of creeks and drainages and stuff. You can get out and follow these. You're still going to find a few oaks. When you do find a few oaks and some pines, I mean, you can see where this has been logged and logged over the years and replanted. And that's a definite timber cut. You can see where they cut it and how that's came back green. That may be a WMA planting, or maybe a hunting club planting. But you're going to find lots of good stuff. You just got to know what to look for, when to look for it, and how to look for it. And don't get discouraged. You got to get out and look. Here's a new timber cut. And these little fingers that they leave out here, this is going to be some bedding. And when this grows back, right in here and right in here, like I said, you got all those native plants that's going to grow back. Blackberry, dewberry, sawbriar, bullweeds, pokeberry, all sorts of good stuff for the deer to get in and eat. There will be some grasses also. You may even have some clover come up. But that's about all I wanted to talk about as far as that on this small video. And I'm going to go next and show you guys some pictures of some pines. What we have here in this picture is a larger stand of pines, and you can notice that the ground floor is really open and there's not really a lot of food for the white-tailed deer. So outside of rut, this wasn't, this ain't going to be a very good spot to hunt. During the rut, you never know. You get in here and find the right sign, you could harvest a buck in here. But as far as food goes, this is not going to be a very good place, for a feeding area. What we have here is a young stand of pine that has recently been planted. And in these pines, you will find some deer bedding, and you'll find a little bit of food and some rubs, and be a good place for turkeys also to get in here and, you know, raise their clutch. So this is a little bit better. What we have here is a massive clear cut. This clear cut is not going to be that great for white-tailed deer. Outside of the rut, in the rut, you may see a buck chase a doe across this and get a shot, but there's nothing to eat here, so there's no bedding, there's no cover. For turkey hunting, this would be okay for turkey hunting because turkeys will get in here and scratch and hunt for gravel and stuff like that. For deer hunting, not so good. Picture above shows a clear cut from 2009, and then the next year it shows it in 2010, 2011, and 2012. And as you can see, it took about 3 to 4 years to get this clear cut back to where it's producing food and bedding. So, in 2010 and then 2011, you can tell a dramatic difference. In 2011 and 2012, you can see that that's going to be a really good place for deer to bed and a good place for deer to eat. So this is what you're looking for when it comes to clear cuts. Okay, guys, that's going to be it. If you would, please like and subscribe. I work really hard on this stuff, and I like for my videos to get pushed up in the search engine, and every time you like and subscribe, that really helps me reach my goal. As always, you guys take care, and keep tuning in for more deer hunting content and outdoor reviews and stuff like that. Like I always say, this has been a Backwoods Studio production. If you would, check us out on Facebook over at Backwoods Mafia.